is Lynn, and I have lived in this area a very long time. And all three of my children were born here. Those are my children. The one on the right is Avery, the one in the middle is Beck, and the one on the left, that's Caleb. He is here joining us as I speak about the fact that he chose to end his life with suicide. This was on his birthday, June the 13th, 2008, and less than 2 months later, he was gone. He was pretty much a typical teenager. Did he do things he shouldn't have been doing? I'm sure. And at the same time, he was a hard worker, he was intelligent, he was kind, he was sensitive, he was empathetic to me, his brother and sister, and his friends. He was just an all-around really great guy. The morning of August the 3rd, 2008, he decided to end all that. We don't know why. I think a lot of people ask the question, did he leave a note? And yes, he did. 4 words, I love you all. Nothing about why or any type of reason, any fear or shame or just nothing but I love you all. And oftentimes suicide is just a spur-of-the-moment decision that changes everybody's life. And we know that middle school and high school is a really difficult time for all of you, and it's difficult for parents to watch what you're going through middle school and high school. And oftentimes we don't think about the long-term effects of what we do. And that's one thing that I would like to talk about right now, are long-term effects of a just short-term, spur-of-the-moment, I can't do this anymore decision. And I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher of many ages and groups for, over 30 years. My favorite right now is 5th grade. I'm a 5th grade teacher at St. James Intermediate. And I love my students, and I have a great life. I have 2 beautiful children that are here with me. I have 2 beautiful grandchildren that I get to play with many times a week. I'm just really blessed and fortunate. I have a dog, a puppy, that chewed this today. Thank you, Lena. I have a couple of horses. My life is full. And people that would look at me would say, wow, Lynn's doing great. She's busy. Busy's the key word there. You stay busy, because if you don't stay busy, you get in here, which is not a good place to be. But if you looked in my heart, what you would see is this statue. It's called Emptiness, and it was created by a grieving parent. And this is how I feel inside every day, except my shape inside is not a box, it's the shape of Caleb. And it's been over 12 years. It never goes away. It's always there. You just learn to live with it. It's just a part of my life. The first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is remember that Caleb is dead. The last thing that I do before I fall asleep at night is remember that Caleb is dead. Since he was the baby, he would frequently come with me to run errands and things, because he was the last one left at home, and he always wanted to come with me. We did everything together if he wasn't with his friends or at school. And still to this day, if I have to run an errand or do something where he would have come with me, for just a split second, I know Caleb will go. And then I remember he can't go. He made a split-second decision that changed so many lives. If you worry or think that you cannot handle the pain anymore, that pain is like a pebble thrown into a pond. It doesn't just bloop and disappear. It spreads and spreads and spreads and spreads to parents, brothers and sisters, friends, parents, and it goes on forever.
I heard an analogy one time that every suicide is like a suicide bombing, because when you have a suicide bomber, it leaves just a wake of people who are harmed in its path. And the people who are closest to the suicide bomber are the people who are harmed the most. And so in that way, every suicide is a suicide bombing because it leaves a wake of hurt people in your path, and the people closest to you are the people who are harmed the most.
I'm now reminded Caleb's friends are getting married, they're having children. I'm reminded that I will never see him as a father, as a husband, and I know that he would have been amazing at both of those. I'm reminded of that every time I see one of his friends' baby girls. It's a constant reminder, and I need you to know that there are ways to get past it. Middle school and high school are so difficult, but you've got to remember that it's a short time in your life, and you will get past it, but the thing that you need to do to get past it is to share it. Oftentimes we think, even as adults, we think, I have to keep this inside. Nobody will understand. Nobody gets it. I'm the only one. You're not the only one. And that's the best way to find out, is to share it. I want to make sure that you understand how important you are, not just to your families and your friends and your teachers and other loved ones, but first and foremost to God and Jesus Christ. I'd like to read this Bible verse. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I'm a child. I'm only a child. But the Lord said to me, do not say, I am only a child. It's funny because I have heard that verse many times, the first portion of it. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. You've got to remember that God chose for you to be here, and you are a part of his life and his being as well. But I've never read the last part that said, but the Lord said to me, do not say, I am only a child. That really spoke to me. And I believe that he's talking to all his children, so that means whatever age you are. Don't just say, I'm only me. Because you are important, and you have things to do in this world, and you were given this life to spread joy and hope through your lives, through your smiles, through your friendships. Another thing that I wanted to share with you is that God has a plan for you. And when you end that plan by choosing to die by suicide, when you end that plan, you are playing God. And there is only one God, and he's got a plan. The other verse I want to read is from Jeremiah as well. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. There's always hope. There's always hope. One other thing in this I truly believe as well. Not only does God have plans for you, and that it is not your choice to play God by ending your life, but when you make a choice like that, I truly believe that Satan has won. I believe that he has gotten through to you in your head and told you things that are not true. And I, for one, don't ever want Satan to win. Ever. You need to remember that you're important, that this is a short period of time in your life, that you need to share your feelings. Everybody has those feelings, everybody. Whether they'll admit it or not, everybody has feelings of hopelessness, of low self-esteem, of thinking nobody cares, of a feeling that there's no reason to go on. Everybody has those feelings. You need to share them, and you need to talk to your friends. You need to talk to your families. You need to talk to anybody around you that you know will listen. And I just want you to know that you are loved and that your life means so much to everybody around you, and that when you choose to be God and end that life, you are passing on that pain to everybody around you for the rest of their lives, forever. And if you would talk about the pain, you could pass it to others to share in a good way. Share what you're feeling, share what's in your heart, and love each other.
And this saying got me through it, and I believe it will help you as well. It is, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Sometimes you have to just keep saying that. You have to say suicide, Austin, or whatever your name is not an option. It's just not an option, because that's a permanent solution to something that is temporary, okay? Whatever you're going through, you just have to trust me. And you may not believe it at the time, but you just have to trust me. You can get through it. You just can't give up. And if some things have to change, whether that's your classes are too intense and you're going to have to change some classes. I kind of went through that in high school. You know, I was really wanting to do all AP classes, advanced placement, and English was just killing me. And I had to say, I can't be perfect. I'm going to have to let that go, you know? And that helped me kind of get through it. And that was a minor issue, but that's just one example of one way sometimes you have to just kind of say something has to change because I need to survive, you know, right now. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You see the hotline number on the screen too as well. This is something we didn't really have growing up. And if we did, I didn't know about it. But there's people you can talk to, because I know sometimes you may not want to talk to someone about this. You know, you may not want anybody to know about it. And this is a secure private line that you can call and talk to, or whether it's through, you know, chatting with them on that website or either calling them. Just keep in mind there's resources to help. Don't do it alone. Get help. I would encourage you, especially maybe talk to a guidance counselor, a parent, or an adult so they can get you some help. There are times when things get so overwhelming that you can't pull yourself out of it. You got to have some help from someone else, whether it is medication or whether it is therapy or whatever it is. There's times when you can't do it alone, when just saying that saying isn't enough. You know, when I was talking about these families earlier and about what Lynn and her children have gone through, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? I mean, you don't know these families in Las Vegas, and some of y'all know Lynn from school. I think some of y'all do. Do any of y'all? Yeah, a few. Okay, very cool. Yes, we have a few here. But if you didn't, it's heartbreaking even not knowing that. So I need you to embrace that feeling if you're having that, hearing these stories and hearing her story, and think about how much more your family cares for you, even if it doesn't feel like it at times. How much more your friends care for you. Heck, I care for these students, and I don't even know who they are in these stories here. I mean, my heart breaks for their families. So how much more does your family and your friends care for you? And lastly, most importantly, is how much more does God care for you? 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 through 20 says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You are bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies." So we honor God sometimes by not giving up. Sometimes by just hanging in there when everything else falls apart and just saying, God, I can't get my way out of this mess or whatever it is you're going through, so I'm turning to you. It's a lot better to turn to God before that point, but sometimes it takes being at that rock bottom place to turn to him. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. Just don't, in your life, please do not give up.